Evden.
Hola,
How's it going?
¿cómo estás usted?
Evden.
Huh?
¿Cómo estás usted?
Eso sí que es. I can speak Spanish now. You remember that from the Rush Limbaugh show?
Damn. Wow. Well, I'm glad everybody's here tonight. We'll give it a few minutes for everybody to pile in, and we'll get started. And as you can already tell with our title for this evening, Eclipse Me Not, we're talking about the impending eclipse. Yeah. I don't think it's the end of the world, folks, but we'll discuss that in a minute. Moose, I know you had some house cleaning stuff you wanted to get out of the way, so fire away, brother.
Yeah, any update on cocaine gang? I know, I mean, anybody know anything? Anybody found out anything? Hell,
No,
at this
I've
point, I'll
heard
take
nothing
a
but
rumor.
crickets. I think Merrick Garland right now is too busy doing other shit. But I do have my suspicions. I think that it was all just a big misunderstanding. And because it didn't directly tie to Orange Man, they didn't feel they needed to allocate resources to look any further. It was all just a big misunderstanding, and they need to direct those resources where they could be used the most potential for taxpayers' dollars. Chasing down patriots.
I would. Oh yeah, you're right. Go ahead, sorry.
No, what?
If they wanted to go do cocaine in the White House is okay, but if they want to go do cocaine at, well, I don't know, the Capitol building, it's not.
Well, it's all about optics. See, the Capitol building may not have Secret Service and Delta assigned there. The White House does, so that they have to maintain a level of need to know. I mean, let's look at it this way: the Capitol building's full of a bunch of fucking sociopaths, anyways. We elected. They're into all kinds of crooked shit. So we don't even need direct resources there to protect them. They're busy with their own fuckery.
You're not going to hear anything about it until about 2 months after Trump's reelected.
You mean right before we get thrown into some black swan event?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of my thought.
Y'all honestly think that we're actually going to have elections and, the country's not going to literally burn, for all the riot? But I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Protest?
I don't know. Because, see, here's the thing. I saw something interesting the other day. Evening, Highlander. Good to see you, brother. I saw something the other day that was kind of funny. What is the abbreviation? Is it equity and inclusion?
DEI?
DEI. You know what that also stands for, right?
Didn't earn it?
Yep. See, that's biting them in the ass. They're seriously.
Yeah.
They're so pissed off because now that moniker, I mean, it just fits so perfectly, and it's like you can't get in front of it. So the DEI shit's going to go to the wayside. Well, there's going to come a point in time that all that's going to kind of fall to the wayside because it can't gain more traction. And see, even from what I'm seeing, even urban Chirac and some of these other places that are generally vote blue until they can't see straight, they're pissed off because they're seeing firsthand the fuckery because it's in their backyard for a change. And so, do I think there's some shady shit that can take place? Sure. I have no doubt. Judging by the amount of fuckery we saw in 2020, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Something will burn.
I mean, all the peaceful protests?
Yeah, mostly peaceful burning.
They only burned a few things. It was because somebody forgot to put out a cigarette.
Right.
But
I thought it was because a vape tube exploded or something. But anyway,
Well, I'm saying if they decide to burn, follow the burn, loot, murder handbook again, are you going to have people trying to stand up to them like you did in 2020? Because they ran all the Patriot groups to ground. You don't hear nothing from the Proud Boys. You don't hear nothing from the different 2A groups. We'll leave it at that. So, I mean, have you seen any rallies of any pro-Trump people getting out there, really?
No, absolutely.
You haven't seen anybody. Think back to 2020. Think back to 2019. Saxman, think about me and you, where we were.
Oh, yeah.
Think about what we were involved with, what we saw, and compare that to now.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
You're talking night and day, brother.
Yeah. It's, at that time it was woo-ha. And now if you step out there, you almost automatically, it's really safe to assume that somebody's probably going to be pulling your profile somewhere.
Yep.
And, if anything comes out that you're at all a patriot, you will be labeled an extremist, a white national, threat to the country, and we've probably just got to put you down.
Yeah, there'll be a drone flying over your property real soon.
Right.
Just something to think about. I mean, I know what we saw going on this time during the last election, and two totally different worlds. Now, I will give you this: there's no burn, loot, murder right now, or not fuck around, shoot ourselves in the foot coalition, or Anquifa. I don't see them running around right now. See, I don't think the current regime wants any of that running loose, because then they have to either cater to them or do their job. They can't do both. You see what I'm saying? It was okay when Orange Man was in office because they could allow the shit to go sideways and blame him.
Yeah. You'll see it outside of any rally or any speaking engagement or anything that Trump has. It'll be out in the parking lot back in 2016. If you remember, that guy took his son to hear, future presidential candidates speak. And the man was, I think, beaten to death right in front of his son or something. Y'all remember that? I think it was in San Diego. I
don't remember that, but it's not to say that, I may have heard of it and just forgot it. There's been so much fuckery since 2016. I mean, damn. I'm with you, Highlander. I'm okay with being an outlaw. I can rock a hat. I mean, it is what it is. But going back to our original title we were talking about earlier about the Eclipse, everybody's seen where they're deploying National Guard to these different states where the Eclipse is going to be nearly total and all this, right?
Right.
Help me to understand why we fucking need National Guard boots on the ground.
So I was listening to something a little while ago about that, and I had, because of the hype, I had heard that like Oklahoma, Texas, Kentucky, stuff like that, we're probably wanting to put boots on the ground for the amount of traffic that you're not necessarily. When I say traffic, I'm not talking cars.
Right.
I'm talking just outsiders that you're going to have in those areas.
Yep.
It's going to become you're going to have throngs of people there. Maybe more than your local law enforcement can handle. I had heard that as an excuse or a reason. Um, and then, of course, they went into the different conspiracy theories around that. But I don't know. Declaring a state of emergency is like a couple of states were planning on doing. Seems like a little, overboard. But then again, you're talking state governments and stuff like that too. So some of these people, like you said earlier about the folks that we have voted in, are kind of reactionary, commie loving fucktards. So
Yeah, I mean, I guess I saw the same thing where they're saying it was to handle the influx of tourists. Okay, again, that doesn't hold water. Okay, it
Hang
makes
on a
no
second.
sense.
Hang on. I've got a question here. We can call National Guard troops to handle the influx of tourists in these states, and all that, but yet we can't call an influx of National Guard troops to secure our border.
just Texas.
I'm just okay. All right. I just wanted to.
Well, now there are National Guard troops on the border from multiple states.
Yeah.
That did happen. To be fair, but it almost sounds like I want to say fear mongering to yet again make people,
Yeah.
what are we going to do? It's an eclipse.
It could very well be predictive programming, get everybody heightened, all on edge about something and to make it happen.
Well, I mean, I remember when the Wu flu hit, and I remember right before because I was contracting at the time, and I remember sitting in my boss's office. I looked at him. I said, "You mark my words. This is one ginormous social experiment, and we failed as a world, as a society. The world failed."
Oh yeah.
Now, before I go any further, and the brown shirts spill their lattes and burn their lips on their hot pockets, let me just get some boilerplate shit out of the way. Anything we say here is for entertainment purposes only. We're not here to incite violence, anarchy, anti-government sentiment, or any of that other horse shit that you'd like to call the DOJ on and report us for some dumb shit, or close our account or flag us. Not what we're here for. We are here for entertainment purposes only. These are just opinions. Do your own research.
What's the definition of opinion?
I guess it depends on the person that you're asking. Opinion is just what I think or want to say of a particular subject or whatever thought, right?
That would be your thought, and all that. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that I've gone and done research on it. We're having a conversation as three like-minded patriots about shit we've seen, and it's up to you whether you want to go with what we're talking about or do your own damn research. If we're not telling you what is true by the verbiage on CNN, please reach out and let us know. Just saying. But that being said, going back to the whole eclipse thing, I don't see the need for National Guard. I don't understand why we're deploying them. And the thing is ironic. Notice that you don't have an outcry from the Phoebes about them doing it.
Right.
Where you had the outcry about them sending them to the border, right? Which makes everything even more circumspect.
Like I said, we can send National Guard troops for that, but we can't send them to the border.
Well, you don't want to send back prospective voters.
I mean, there's I am quite sure there's some sort of fuckery about. Do I think it's a black swan event or anything like that? No, not really. Um,
I'll say
I know I've heard random shit from.
everyone. It's a fucking eclipse. It's a
Yeah.
cool deal
Yeah.
that happens in the sky. What, every 20 or 50 years or something like that. That's it. It's not you know anything that you need to get all up in arms about and everything. It's just an eclipse.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Like I said.
And I'd also, of course, again, when anything sciencey happens in the skies, these folks come out. There were because both broods of cicadas are supposed to be out this year on the same date. You're going to have an influx of cicadas, an eclipse. It's got to be, you know, Eclipse Mageddon 2024. So there's that one out there. And that one was kind of humorous.
There was another one that another conspiracy thing floating around. There was going to be some kind of pathogen released during all this. Again, this was a rumor. I'm not saying this shit's going to happen. So brown shirts, don't be flagging nobody. We're just discussing bullshit we've heard. Okay, that we're not trying to cause anybody to run and hide in their basement and shit and call the National Guard. It's okay.
And what's funny, that you say that, given the, giving the disclaimer there,
Yeah.
that is probably if you were going to dip into the, tinfoil hat thing, that's probably the most likely, just based on what our government has done to its own citizens in the past.
Sure.
There's tons of examples where the U.S. government has poisoned, experimented on its own citizens in mass. So I could actually see that one happening over all the other ones.
Well, I'm going to give you a little fact here about like eclipses and things like that. You actually know years in advance when they're going to happen because science has figured out, okay, this one happens. For example, Halley's Comet comes around every 75 years, people. Eclipses are the same way. You know when they're going to happen. You know ahead of time, years in advance, that on this day, they'll have another one.
Well, but okay, Moose. Here's the thing, and here's what they're probably trying to cash in on. And real fast, how Enter asked about firing rockets towards the eclipse. They claim to measure atmospheric changes during the eclipse.
Yeah, they do it during almost every eclipse.
Yeah, but I wasn't aware that the eclipse created atmospheric changes.
Well, it's gonna mess with like the tides, for example. Because the tides
So rockets
are
not going to tell
affected,
that.
by the Earth's gravitational pull with the moon and all. That's how the tides are kind of.
I understand that, but the tides are in the water on the ground. They're not up in the sky. So you could stand on a beach and say, look, the tide's at a different time today. You see what I'm saying? And because we've seen so much fuckery from our government, you don't really trust anything they tell you. And with AI, you don't even know if the shit you see is real, right? So, I mean, I don't know.
They can pull off an eclipse like AI where you can walk outside, look up in the air and see it. Yeah, that's pretty impressive there.
That's not what I mean. I'm talking about like what you see on TV, what you see on like
anything past that they print, distribute, or try to tell you or anything, yeah, I'm sorry. I'll buy it. I lost believing in them years ago. I mean, anything they say, I'm like already going, yeah, I'm not buying that. I'm gonna do my own research. And
Well,
then,
excuse me. I just think to all these damn billionaires building these bunkers and compounds all over the fucking planet, they didn't all wake up one day and say, hey, let's go spend $30 million on a bunker. Something had to make them do that or make them want to do that. We know that they're all tied to the World Economic Forum. We all know that, there's
girlfriend.
shady shit, but it's blatantly apparent that the 10th of the 1% know something. Would you not agree?
Yeah.
And they apparently feel that what they're doing will allow them to weather whatever comes.
or they're hoping their $30 million bunker will.
Do what?
Or they're hoping their $30 million bunker will.
Well, I mean, that's true, but it makes you wonder what it is.
Oh, yeah.
We don't. I don't think it's the eclipse. I think we're safe there. I don't think it is necessarily some kind of social unrest.
Well, there is that one big asteroid that's have you heard about that one?
Is this the what is it called?
This is the one that I'd seen the other a couple of months ago. It's this thing's fairly large. I mean, it's big, and it's gonna sometime this year or next year. It's gonna, I think, it's gonna come pretty darn close to the Earth. But they were saying that this is one of those ones that is a very high probability. There's always stuff hits the Earth all the time, but this is one of those big ones that has a very big possibility of smacking into the planet. Maybe not, in a year or two, but in the next maybe 10 or so.
Right. Because it doesn't have a standard orbit in it, like
it's a little bit wonky, yeah. And it flies through. Apparently, its trajectory takes it to where it can get bumped pretty easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Apophis, that's it. You're right, Highlander. I couldn't remember the name of it. He's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, maybe they're preparing for that, but again, that's for them to go and all build bunkers and do all this bullshit. That has to be some pretty substantial data they have to make them do this. And remember, if you remember, all these bunkers are supposed to be done by the end of this year, weren't they?
Yeah.
Okay. So whatever they knew, they found out years back. They didn't just find out about it. So this is something that's been an ongoing mission, etc. This is data and intel they've had for a while. So you got to wonder.
Yeah.
And if that thing was to hit the planet, Apophis was to hit, it'd be that's pretty much total.
And for all you people that, go, oh, well, I know what I'll do. I'll just go get Bruce Willis and his drilling team to fly up into outer space and drill a hole and then drop a nuke in there and split it in half. And so it'll go around the Earth's atmosphere. All right. You got that. You work on that project.
Well, Hollywood has a way of presenting things, but if you want to really go down this rabbit hole, which what the fuck, we're already here. Usually, when Hollywood puts out these disaster movies, because remember there was Armageddon and there was another one,
Deep Impact.
Deep Impact. Hollywood has a tendency to put shit out to numb people to things. Think that through, because the people in Hollywood are a bunch of sick bastards too. And they're plugged into a lot of the shit that these crooked ass politicians, billionaires are tied into too, because they all run in the same circles. So
maybe it's the pole shift.
Another 2012, huh? No, it wasn't 2012. That was the day after tomorrow.
Day after tomorrow, or something like that.
Yeah, I say that was like
day after tomorrow. Well, I mean, again, thinking at it from a pragmatic point of view, saving a handful of rich people who are fucking worthless without their laptops and their little minions to do shit for them, the fucking race will die off. I mean,
right.
Bruh, tell me I'm wrong, because they've got money and power and resources and shit, but they can't take a fucking DeWalt drill and put a fucking door on a house.
All right.
Tie their shoes. Probably wash fucking clothes. They're used to having little minions do everything for them because they're above all that shit. Well, I hate to tell you this, but if the grid goes down and shit goes sideways, it's going to be like the fucking Dark Ages, and your ass going to have to learn a skill. Pointing and telling people to do shit's going to be out the window because your currency ain't worth shit. And all them fucking MREs and ready-to-eat meal, or the fucking freeze-dried shit you got and everything else, and all that stuff you got hydroponic in your bunker, that shit's going to run out. Then what you going to do?
I'm just hoping it's not heater meals.
I'm just saying.
But yeah, you're right.
I would take 10 working class motherfuckers in my corner than any wealthy or movie star or fucking politician.
Oh yeah.
Because all three of them motherfuckers gonna be nothing but wasted space.
Just using up good air.
Yeah, because they're absolutely useless. They're there for entertainment or fuckery. That's all they're there for. And in some cases, the fuckery is entertainment. But you get what I'm saying. So, it is what it is.
My brother was telling me that this is like 10 years ago. He had a kid working for him, and I say a kid. The guy was like in his mid-20s, but anyway, he had a kid working for him, and kid calls him and says, "Hey, I'm gonna be late for work." And my brother was like, "Okay, 30 minutes?" He goes, "I don't know." He said, "I might be an hour too late." He said, I had to call a tow truck, and he said, "I'm on the side of the road right now." And he's like, "Well, you broke down or what?" And the guy goes, "Yeah, I've got a flat tire and I can't get a good enough signal to bring up the internet so I can YouTube to see how to change a tire."
Nice.
My brother just kind of sat there and he was like, "You don't know how to change a tire?" And the kid told him, "No, I don't know how to change a tire." And so he had to call a tow truck to come out there and get his vehicle, take it to a tire place to put a new tire on his vehicle, and then get to work.
Wow.
That's embarrassing.
That is embarrassing. I believe it,
And
though.
we're not talking about a girl here. We're talking about a man, a 20-something-year-old man.
Yeah. He just lost his man card, dude.
And
That
that's a
was over
failure of the generation above him as well.
Yeah.
that was 10 that was over 10 years ago. My brother said he's had people that couldn't change fluorescent light bulbs. A ballast system, you know, which I mean a ballast system I'm not gonna mess with just because I don't do electrical, but I mean I know it's just a couple of wires swap out and you're done. You know.
It's anybody can learn basic electrical work. I'm not talking about doing, wiring a house or a circuit breaker, circuit box or anything like that. I'm talking about lights, light switch or replacing a light fixture, ceiling fan, shit like that. Um, Anybody can learn basic carpentry. Anybody can learn basic plumbing. It's not fucking rocket science.
I mean, we're not talking serious mechanic work, taking a tire off a car and putting your
Yeah.
spare tire on.
It
That's
requires
not
a
what-
jack, a fucking lug wrench, and 5
That's
lug
it.
nuts.
That's it. Well, the lug nuts will be on the vehicle. You just unscrew them, and
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But
That's the entire dynamic of changing the tire. So, but yeah, I mean, I can believe that shit. I mean,
And not getting run over by all the other assholes that are out there driving by you.
yeah. Well,
But-
I mean, but
my brother was telling me. He said it would shock you. He said the amount of stuff that kids do not know how to do these days. And I just was like, really, keep going then, shock me. And he said, well, I'm not even going to get into like mowing yards or, knowing how to run a weed eater. Let's just start with starting one.
oh yeah.
Right.
Well, one thing I can just give you, the entire generation is fucked. But I think for a lot of it is, but in this particular case, I'll give you an example. I do some work on the side, and I was with the guy I work with, and spring break. So he's been bringing 2 of his kids with him, and he'll make them either go for him while he's doing his work, or have them in there laying grout, laying tile, cleaning up. He's making them learn the trade, and these aren't. I'm not talking about 20-year-olds, but just saying that's what people should be doing.
Right.
To an extent. I mean, whatever you're skilled at, if you've got some basic knowledge, it doesn't matter if it's finance, carpentry, landscaping, whatever the fuck it is, even if it's fishing, just a skill set that you can pass on to the next generation and they can develop it, learn it, master it, and do the same. You should be passing that on, because we're the motherfuckers that if stuff goes sideways and we survive,
Yeah.
it's not only is it going to be by the grace of God, ideally, but the good Lord gave us the skill set to try and survive with the knowledge we've acquired by His good grace. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And so you got these people who worship money instead of God, and they think that they can just pay for the menial shit to get done. They've lost sight of the whole human experience.
Oh yeah, it's funny how people dog on the 80s about that generation, the influx of money and cool stuff, but we lived through that, and this generation now, it either has to, you push a button and it has to happen immediately, or you have to get validated by 1,000 people for anything good to happen in your life.
Right.
Yeah, it's and I guarantee you those of us that lived through that time period, uh, we could rule the world, man.
I mean,
And a lot of it was just because we had to.
Yeah.
It wasn't that we were super special. We just had to.
yeah.
Look, kids from the 80s drank from water hoses. And guess what? We didn't die.
Right?
We didn't have a cell phone either.
We came home when it got dark because we knew when it got dark, come home, eat supper.
Yeah. And we rode bicycles and walked and climbed shit without safety helmets.
Yeah, without helmets.
And knee pads and shit. I mean, we pussified how many generations since then?
Oh, yeah.
And not only that, but now everything's about this instead of this right here.
Right.
Shouldn't be about what color they are, how they look. It should be what's in their heart. I mean, if you're a fucking moron or a bottom feeder, then fuck you. It doesn't matter what color your skin is, what nationality or creed you are. But our society's become so damn inept and so dysfunctional that all it does is point the finger and it's everybody else's fault for all the fuckery. And that's the furthest from the truth. It's because nobody wants to take fucking responsibility for the fucking stupid decisions they make. When we were growing up, if you did something wrong or you fucked up, what happened?
You got your ass beat.
You took responsibility either by the end of a belt, switch, whatever ramification came. You knew you fucked up.
When I fucked up, I ran away from home. And, or at least I tried to. And because the last person I wanted to find out was this person called my dad. And my dad would beat the hell out of me for, and then he'd say, don't do it again. And
Yep.
I would try my damnedest never to do it again.
Yeah.
I remember my father, boy, he'd keep telling me, keep doing this. We'll get a switch. We'll get the belt. I'd keep doing it. He'd have my ass out there in the front yard picking out a switch.
You got told more than
once.
once.
He warned me.
Yep. Go outside and pick your switch. And it better not be small and it better not be dead.
Oh, I learned the hard way. You don't go out there and pick that little bitty light sumbitch. And I learned real quick, you don't go out there and pick the heaviest sumbitch either.
Right.
I mean, it's a shame. I think part of the reason we're in the position we're in is because we failed with the later generations, instilling in them, some important facts and things that should have been important to them. I think they've lost sight of patriotism. They've lost sight of the origins of this country. At one time, we were the greatest nation on earth. Not in might, but just because of what it was. And now we're a fractured shadow of what we once were.
Yeah.
And,
That's putting it mildly.
well, I mean, and the world knows it. That's why China's doing the shit they're doing. That's why North Korea's doing the shit they're doing. That's why all these other countries are, poking their chest out because they're looking at the United States and what are they going to do? They can't figure out what fucking pronoun to use.
Right.
And they just
we can't tell you what a man or a woman is.
Disability Day.
Let alone pronoun. We can't tell you what a man or a woman is. We can't,
Well, I truly hope in November things change for the better. I'm sick of looking at $4 a gallon gas.
Yeah.
And I'm sick of hearing you white people. It's time for shit to level back out to where everybody's civil and it's a decent place to be and live. It doesn't have to be this way, but the ignorant masses are taking everything hook, line, and sinker, and it's just getting worse. You know, I can't. You know, I hope we have an election. I hope that it's an honest and fair election. I say that with bated breath. I still know people who will not vote because they say their vote doesn't count. And I keep trying to stress the point to them. You understand that by you not voting, they win.
Right.
They're essentially admitting defeat.
They're not even admitting defeat. They're simply they're perfectly happy with saying, well, I'm going to accept the defeatist role and just as long as I can stream my Netflix and get my latte at Starbucks, I'm good to go. There's your problem.
Will own nothing and you will like it.
Yeah. I mean, why do you think they don't want people? Why do you think they don't teach cursive in schools anymore? Think that through. I mean, it blows my mind because they want to dumb down the future generations even more than they are now. Because once you remove the cornerstones of our society and our country from the youth, it's not taught to them anymore. They're not going to understand what they're giving up or they're giving away.
Right.
It's a much deeper fuckery than most people realize. You know, and I hope it gets better. Here we go. All right, I'm done bitching and moaning and dancing on the soapbox. Somebody else take it.
Well,
hey, Sax, man, I bet we can get him back up on it in about 3 minutes.
oh, I'm sure. Getting back to the original topic, again, it just blows my mind though. Not everything. Now, because we have seen, with the big worldwide social experiment that it did kind of fail, and then it did kind of, I think there was enough pushback during the last experiment that you have people like us that will not, drive around with masks in our cars and shit like that. And that put enough stuff out there, that kind of flew in the face of what they were peddling. But that being said, not everything is conspiracy. Some of it's science. Some of it is actual, science that happens in space. And you can go on and on about that, because they're always doing shady shit. To me, it's just interesting whenever you get the people that are predicting, the end of the world and stuff like that, because you've got, signs and visions and shit. And don't get me wrong, I do believe in biblical prophecy and stuff like that. Nowhere in biblical prophecy is the United States mentioned. So, I don't know. The people that try to rile the masses with that sort of thing just kind of piss me off.
Well, I call them opportunists.
Yeah.
I call them grifters.
What was that?
I call them grifters.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
If you think about it, a lot of the world is based in capitalism, right? So you make a supply and demand, the people buy it, the masses buy it, spend their money. That's how you make your money. Well,
right.
If you get the masses to believe that this is happening or that's happening, and you start creating products to fuel that need or to reinforce that, it's like you're creating a demand for a market that was never there.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say you shouldn't prepare. You shouldn't, have go bags and different things and prepare for, contingencies. I'm not saying that in any way. I'm not throwing shade on people with that mindset because I'm one. But I'm saying don't get sucked in to this void that all this fear mongering and all this shit. You will get sucked in and you'll literally be trying to find a damn Connex somewhere to store all your shit in because you'll get so sucked in from having a fucking solar power generator to electric car to whatever. You'll buy all that shit and buy into it and may never even need it. I'm just saying when you prepare and you do these things, use logic.
Yeah, use your brain.
Yeah, don't get sucked into all this because it's all marketing. I'm sorry. I'm not saying that there isn't shit out there that could happen. I'm not saying that a meteor can hit the planet. There couldn't be another pandemic, whatever. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is they're, in my opinion, they're trying to make society to the point where if something farts, everyone runs in their house, puts on a fucking mask, and waits for the government to give them the all clear.
Yeah.
That's what they want. They want a bunch of fucking sheeple.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
tired
Keep
of that.
everybody in perpetual fear.
Yeah. That's it. They're playing on that said perfectly.
Yep, I mean, it's exactly like you said. Yes, there are things that you need to get to be prepared. I mean, whatever you think of the Mormons, they kind of have it right. Be self-sufficient, have yourself, ways to defend yourself and your family, and your friends, maybe your community, but don't fall for every, the sky is falling situation.
No. It will consume you. It will consume you. I mean, because to be honest, and I think both of you will agree, there's absolutely no way you can prepare for everything. None. There's always a Murphy's Law quotient somewhere that's going to kick in. You can't. You can be as prepared as you possibly can on whatever mindset you're at. And that's it. At the end of the day, you've got to be comfortable with that being enough.
Yeah.
My mindset is that if I didn't prepare enough and it's time for God to call me home, it's time for me to go.
Right.
I did the best I could. We're not perfect by any means. So, well.
No, not afraid of dying. Not afraid of defending. Not afraid of defending my own. But
Right.
You know what? If it happens, it happens.
I want to clarify. I mean, I'm not afraid. I don't want to die.
No, I don't want to die, but
Well, no, I'm not going around and licking 220 outlets and shit. None of us want to die. I don't know about you, but I got shit I still want to do or need to do.
I mean, if you hadn't done it in 500 and something years, T, I don't think you're going to do it by now. Sorry, I had to plug that.
The Lord will decide when it's time to punch my ticket and clock out, not me. So, well, I think we've aggravated people enough tonight and told them about the eclipse. I think everybody should just go about the business that day. I mean, be mindful of it. There'll probably be some people acting retarded. You might have, furries running around trying to hump out in the eclipse or something. Who knows? There'll be some strange shit happen because there'll be an excuse for them to act out. So just be prepared for that. I don't know about schools and things. I'm speculating here, but I'll be very surprised if schools are in that day. I think they're going to use it as a reason to, again, make it more than what it is.
As far as I know, and I've got a kid that's in 8th grade. He's going to school that day.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, I'm just saying, in some regions, I wouldn't be surprised if they close school.
Right.
For those of you who will be in the path of a total eclipse or near total eclipse, I encourage you to go outside and look at the leaves on the trees. And you'll see what I'm talking about.
Well, yeah. We saw that.
You live near a cotton field or a cornfield or something like that where the crops are starting to sprout up, or grass that's maybe knee high. Go out and watch that grass because they chase the sunlight.
I've never seen that. I just know I've watched the leaves before. The leaves are pretty cool. But
yeah. Remember during the lunar eclipse, what was it, a couple of months ago?
Yeah.
Did the same thing. Yeah. And I didn't figure it out until we were outside just kind of looking at it. And the leaf thing is interesting.
Yeah, it looks like looking at a leaf through an X-ray almost.
Yeah.
Just something that's interesting. Highlander, I agree. Expect the unexpected. I couldn't have said it better myself. With the way things are nowadays, who fucking knows? With that being said, we'll start wrapping things up. Moose, I'm going to let you have the floor. Drop some knowledge, brother.
My granddad always used to say, expect the worst and nothing will ever surprise you. And he was a very wise man, a lot wiser than I am. So, there's a little granddad knowledge for you. And then also he'd say, when he was coming up, they was so poor that I'd give him a pair of blue jeans with a hole cut in the right pocket. That way he had something to wear and something to play with. Every time birthday or Christmas or something like that. There's just some gifts ideas if you got little boys growing up. But anyhow, I would advise people go out, check out the eclipse if you can, because it's just something cool to see. It's one thing to see it in a book or see a video of it or see it, pictures or whatever. And another thing to see it with your own eyes, see it live. So just go out and experience it for yourself.
Yeah, it's one of the things you don't see very often. So, but use common sense when trying to view it. Don't burn out your cornea or do anything stupid.
Yeah, don't stare directly in the sun, and whatever you do, by all means, do not get binoculars out and try to use those staring directly into the sun. If you
can do it once.
You might you're gonna be Ray Charles in it after that.
Damn.
You could do a lot of things once.
Let me know how that works out.
Oh hell, I ain't gonna do it.
My suggestion is go get yourself a good welding helmet and you stand out there and watch it all damn day long.
Right.
Just my opinion. All right, Sax man, the floor is yours, brother.
Yes. Okay. Let's see. You know what? With election stuff coming up, if you can do something, if you can volunteer to poll watch, kind of reduce the meal count, do it. Any little bit helps. I always say don't trust your government, but don't trust the people that are enabling this government even more, because there's a lot of them out there. Yeah, you know what? I probably got a lot more, but that's it. That's good.
All right. Good deal. Well,
off, man, just wondered, who do you think to win the Yankees game?
Yankees game?
Yeah.
I don't know baseball.
Oh.
Well, that being said.
Hey, Sax, what about girls softball? Do you keep up with any of that?
Girls softball? Not anymore. Not in about 35 years.
Okay.
All Are we done?
I'm done.
All right, folks. Thanks for
Hey,
being
thanks,
here.
man.
And what I'll ask is, pay attention to what's going on around you, as always. Don't get caught up in all this stupid fuckery about the eclipse and, the sea levels rising and all this other bullshit. It's all fear mongering. Anybody with more than 30 fucking IQ points can figure that out. Don't get sucked in. Don't let your family and your friends get sucked in if you can help it. Again, thanks for being here. And hopefully we'll be back Tuesday, boots on the ground with some more fuckery to discuss. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay vigilant. Night, everyone.
Night. We need water.
Weenie water's bad.
Drink. Oh, sax man.
All right, guys, I'll check out. Y'all have a good evening. We'll see you on the flip side.
All right,
Hey,
good night.
hang on.